This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Cason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk. This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Brother, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Charmander.
Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shake Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what
Schlecht?
it means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on a Monday, it's my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
Well, the season is oh my god, the season is over. So nothing to talk about. I mean, I was watching Sixers this morning to kill some time while working out. So it's bad. Where are the Thunder?
I know it's felt so strange. It felt like we got Hartenstein back and was like, well, we'll never see him again. It's just kind of how it felt. The Thunder are in Sacramento tonight. Shout out to any of the media members that are there. You're about to get the best oatmeal raisin cookie of your life. So, just a fact of the matter. Okay, so in Sacramento tonight, the Thunder currently are second in net rating in the NBA at a plus 10.4. They're first in defense at a 102.7. They are 12th in offense at a 113.1. Michele, we need to talk about Isaiah Hartenstein. We talked about him a little bit on Friday. I want to hear your perspective on what you saw from him. He came back. He looked great. Looked like he didn't miss a beat at all. And in fact, there were times where he was getting pulled from the lineup, and he said after the game that, he's like, I'm fine. Like, I didn't really know why Mark was pulling me out of the game. But I think, he'd never really he hasn't really been coached by Mark before. And then, he's just trying to get our bearings here. It's just it's interesting, but he looked amazing in that game. And like the expectations are sky high right now.
Yeah. And if you want to analyze the game and wanting to go into the details of what we saw, it was not a perfect game, which makes it even more impressive. I think that there were a lot of things that he could have cleaned up. It was a nice game. It was an energetic game. It was a game where he was aggressive, which is something that they really like. Not aggressive just with his passing, but aggressive with his shooting, which is something that I really like. I really think that he could change the complexity of what OKC does with the second unit. I really hope that we won't see that until Chet comes back, because I really want Hartenstein to start and to give the best possible chemistry with Shea, with Lou Dort, and with J-Dub, because I really think that is the best way to play him 28, 30, 32 minutes, whatever he needs to. Then we can see how we can make the second unit a little bit better, like he did against Portland. But I really want to see him with Shea. There was a moment, I don't remember who was the shooter, probably Cason Wallace or Shea, I don't remember, where he set a really hard screen, and it was probably the first or second possession offensively, and that guy had yards of space to go around. So it's something that it will improve, because screening is probably the thing that you need to get used the most. It's not very easy to screen immediately in the right moments, in the right position of the floor if you are basically new to the team. So I mean, we will see better stuff. The passing was amazing. I mean, I don't particularly care that Dylan Jones eat 2 layups, smoke them more so than eat them. But it was, I mean, he was so intentional with the passing. I mean, he was just all over the place. I really like it. And again, the fact that he was so aggressive. He was not trying to, hey, I'll come back. I'll do little things here and there. I'll be the glue guy. No. I need to show what I am. I need to show who I am, which I liked.
It was amazing. It was so great. And they've got to Isaiah Hartenstein him tonight, right? Like they just have to.
Oh dear Lord. Fred, are you there? I mean, this is Fred Cat's special there.
This is what happens when you don't have Thunder games to talk about. Is I'm just sitting here thinking that, especially against Domas, right?
Yeah,
because you look at that Sacramento like bench is so bad. Just like they are getting like no production off the bench.
Yeah, except for maybe Trey Lyles, which is weirdly shooting well enough.
Yeah, I mean, Keon Ellis as well is contributing off the bench. It's really just those two. And everything else is just a struggle. And like that team has been struggling in general. They're below 500 right now.
Yeah.
It is not pretty in Sacramento. And I think, let me double check this. I'm pretty sure that they'll be on the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah. They played, yes.
Yeah. So it's important that the Thunder take care of business. You know, they lost to the Nets.
Yeah.
And so,
which, weird. Like
really
very weird. I watched glimpses of Nets. That was one of the game that I kind of circled for last night, and then I ended up watching the Sixers mainly because of you and Alex. And you need to watch and look for myself how bad that was. And boy, Andrew, that is so bad. Like it's so bad. Like it's incredible. It's worse than tanky because you see actual NBA players. You know that those are actual NBA players, and it's no effort, nothing, really nothing there. I mean, it's just whatever.
Yeah,
sad, mostly sad.
It is sad. It is really it is putrid.
Yeah.
I feel like the league is just in a weird place to start the season, and this is not completely unusual. You know, there's a lot of like kind of wonkiness that happens at the beginning of every season that will eventually kind of settle its way in, or teams emerge. Like maybe Orlando is just a good basketball team. Maybe Houston has made a leap. They're a plus 8.7, which is right on par with Golden State. And I think it's fair to ask the question, like, which team do you believe in more? I'd probably settle with Golden State.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on in this, in the West and in the East right now. And like the main reason why I would be interested about the Sixers on this show is just this pick. Like I believe that they're going to dig themselves out of the bottom of the league.
But should they?
They shouldn't, no, but I think they probably will. But the problem with not digging yourself out is, in the end, are you going to be able to out tank Utah, Toronto, Charlotte, teams like that will, by the end of the season, want to be down in the very bottom because you need to. Because at this point, you're second, in the reverse standings, you're second. And you're probably in a good spot if you're second, just because you're unlikely to fall to seventh.
Yeah.
At that point. But if you're third, fourth, fifth, sixth, like you're doing a dance with the devil right there.
Yeah.
Because you could very easily, with the new odds, fall down to 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
From that spot, because you can fall as far as 5 spots. And so I think this pick is going to convey. I really, really believe it's going to convey. Now it becomes the question is, because the East is the most forgiving conference, this version of the East is probably the most forgiving of any conference we've ever seen. They are 3 games out of the 10th spot.
Yeah.
Even though it's just been a disaster. Like, they could have a good week and find themselves in the 10th spot, or it would probably take a couple of weeks to pull themselves up to the play-in range, which I think is totally possible. But I think that, this pick could end up being a lottery pick in a very good draft. So it's just, something to monitor. We're all monitoring the Clippers, which,
they play hard. They play really hard.
Yep.
I mean, this was not like the main topic of the pod. I'm derailing everything. But anyhow, they were after Philadelphia's throat basically for the entire game. Dunn, who was probably with a foot and a half out of the league a couple of years ago, he is defending like a crazy person. Amir Coffey is shooting the ball well enough. Zubac is whatever. He's a very good player. And James Harden, you can say whatever you want about his postseason success, which is not ideal, but he can make a team work. He can run a team pretty well. And so, I mean, I don't think that team will be like they may end up being the 14th, 15th team, like on the edges of the lottery, but they really believe in themselves. Anyhow, having these 2 picks in a very nice draft, that is fun money. So it's good. It's good because you, on the one hand, you already introduced 2 guys that in different games probably, in the same game against Portland, they showed exactly how OKC envisioned that. And then you have all these assets that you can use to extend this window, which is exactly what you need. Because, I mean, Topic next year, who knows? AJ Mitchell this year. There might be 1-2 guys next year that you can say, okay, let's circle someone out. Let's circle someone in and keep the thing going. Now, I'm not sure that they will draft it the best, the second best, or the 5th best player next year. But who cares? I mean, it's they show that they can get that from other avenues. And maybe they will draft another J-Dub. Who knows?
I mean, I think there's going to be guys like that available in this draft. I think that this is one that you would want to have some good picks in. And I need to do some more deep dives on these players, but from everything you hear from people around the league, it's a draft that you would want to have a couple lotto picks in, and maybe you can just take one. And I mean, you could maybe do what San Antonio did and kick the can down the road a little bit, to when this team is more in their prime and have like more assets for when they're in their prime. And maybe you just need one guy, just because you can't, they're going to have like one of like the best problems you can have is like, we just have too many good players, and like, how do we develop them? Because Topic is coming back next year. So can you really develop like Topic and 2 lottery picks? I think that is a tough thing for a team that is contending. It's tough enough. It's going to be tough enough for Topic, let's be honest, next season.
Yeah, especially since AJ Mitchell is number 1 in on-off rating.
AJ Mitchell. I didn't expect, because when they took Topic, I was like, okay, well, like the fun rookie stuff is probably not happening this year. We'll wait till next year. No, it's actually happening now. It's actually happening right now. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. So I'm just intrigued. I think, and because they have extra picks, they have players that people would want, they have all these things. There's just a lot of options, and the Thunder. That's that's what I think people don't quite understand is like, yes, things are amazing right now, but they should continue to get better because of the planning that Sam and his people have done up till this point to have this. Everything is just set up to just get a little bit better as this thing goes on and a little bit easier because you have all these assets and you have all these picks and you have nice young players and maybe you figure out, okay, you go. I mean, I think they went through that playoff run and they realized, hey, we need more point of attack defense and we need better shooting, and they addressed that. And we need another big man, they addressed that. Maybe they win the title this year. And if they don't, you're going to learn a whole lot about who you are as a team and what you may need. And you can go get that this next summer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this team is perfect. I don't think any team is perfect.
Mhm.
But the Thunder are going to have a chance to like get as close as they can to like a perfect roster through these years of like trying to build and mold the team. And so I'm just intrigued to see how that all works out. And the fact that you have a Clippers team who's overperforming for sure. If James Harden misses any time whatsoever, though,
Yeah.
like they're going to drop off a cliff. They're already like 21st in offense, and I just don't know how. I don't know how they actually get to. I don't know how. I mean, they'll be the worst offense in the league when James Harden is out. Is really the point I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
So I don't think
that's for sure.
So
I mean,
think
he's looking a lot.
I mean, yeah, and he's not even shooting well.
Yeah.
So I just think that obviously the Thunder are just the rich get richer kind of thing. We did have some injury news, which has just become a normal thing around here, especially if you're over 6'6". Ousmane Dieng sustained a small fracture in his right ring finger during a Blue game on the 22nd, and he will be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks, which is a bummer.
Dylan Jones.
Dylan Jones, a lot of Kenrich, and honestly, we'll get to see a lot of Isaiah Hartenstein, which I think will be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bummer about Oos. I'm going to check the injury report and see if we have anything for Caruso yet, because they said to check the portal for.
Yeah, it didn't look nice.
I
in
would
the
be
moment.
really surprised if he. Okay, yeah, he is listed as out tonight.
Yeah.
So,
But there is no.
Yeah, on the injury report tonight, Alex Caruso is out with a right hip strain. It looked pretty brutal. Oos is out, and then we've got Alex Dukas on a two-way. Chet's obviously out. Nikola Topic. Jay Will is still out with his right hamstring strain. Then Isaiah Joe's listed as questionable with his left calf contusion. They could use Isaiah Joe.
Yeah.
This one, especially with Caruso out. So hopefully we'll see Isaiah Joe back. There was footage out there of Chet after practice the other day on crutches. To me, I just don't even know how this became like a thing that people were getting upset about. Like, I don't quite understand it. Like, he was out in a space that was visible to the media, and he honestly didn't look great. And when we're talking about a 3-month injury, we're talking about he's days from being injured.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a 3-month recovery. What do you expect? You expect him to like look great? I think it's great that he's up and around, and that he's around the team.
Not in a bed.
So I don't know what people expected, but people will find, this is just like a thing, is that people will find anything to be upset or mad about. But I wouldn't say that it's a cause for concern that he looked like that. I would just say, like, yeah, he had a significant injury that is, by all accounts, outrageously painful. You can't put pressure. I mean, we saw him, like, he couldn't put pressure on that leg at all.
Yeah.
And so, like, why would we expect him to be walking around without help? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
that was a weird thing. So I don't know. I think maybe, and somebody like even directed me to it. I didn't see it outright. People were sending me stuff on it, and I'm just like, I don't know. Everybody like go touch grass or something. I don't know. It's like chill out. Like he had a bad injury and he's going to be out for a while. And like the idea is that he still will be back. So I don't think anything changes just because people freaked out online. So
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where why should you put any weight on that? Chet on his leg and you on him not being able to. I mean, it's a painful injury. Like whatever makes it less painful for him, that is the way to go. Like,
yeah.
And can it be bad? Sure, it can be bad. We all knew that. Yeah. It is 3 months since we check in and see when he could come back. So it's I'm not saying to consider Chet out of the picture until the playoffs, but this is something that you should be okay with. Does it suck?
Really,
yes.
It's really just 2 months and change that he'll be out before we figure out what's going on. And I'm just saying 3 months. It just feels like it'll be around 3 months that we'll see him back on the court again.
If it's that, awesome. If it's 4 months and it's right before the playoffs, so be it. I mean, the injury is it is what it is. It's not a time to panic. The goal is for him to be back at the best of his capabilities whenever that can be done. So yeah, whatever. I would not really go crazy about it one way or the other. It is a painful injury. So and it's been what, 14 days, 12 days. I don't even know the count.
I think it's been like 12 days. So
yeah,
I would not stress about it.
And they said 10 weeks.
Yeah.
10 weeks.
Yeah.
10 weeks. We are at 1.6 weeks. So
yeah. Take a breath, everybody.
Yeah.
You want to play a game?
Sure.
The game is called Which Player That Is Underperforming in the 3-point Shooting Percentage category for the Kings is going to make a ton tonight, Michele.
Wow.
Because it just feels like that always happens. So I thought it might be fun for each of us to say which player that's shooting under 35% from three is going to make like 4 threes tonight. So your options are these: Trey Lyles, Doug McDermott, who's only played in 2 games, but you know what? They could dust him off. Who knows?
Oh, I really hope. I mean, why did I say that? Why did I started saying that? I can say only this. I watched Doug play defense.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic for the opponents. It is really no resistance whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, the problem, and this is what happened against the Nets, was that they put Kevin Huerter on Cam Thomas. And Kevin Huerter, I mean, it was just like handing him points, putting Huerter on him. Who's been the
Mike Brown defense bust lasted what, 1.5 season?
Yeah, if that. It's not been great.
Boost, not best. Anyway.
DeMar DeRozan shooting 31%. Keegan Murray for the season is shooting 29.9% from three.
Yeah. Before you get to the list, I said that is Keegs. Keegs for sure.
Yeah. Huerter is 29%. Malik Monk is 27%.
Does he play tonight? He was in street clothes yesterday.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know, because the last report was that he's expected to remain sidelined until at least next week. And that was on November 21st. So my guess is that he won't play.
Yeah.
And they're also missing, obviously, their rookie Devin Carter, who's been out the whole season, and then Mason Jones as well. So yeah. Likely no Malik Monk. So, I mean, my guess is that we'll just have a maddening Kevin Huerter game where Huerter makes like 4 or 5 from 3 or something. That's where I'm putting my eggs.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Kicks just because of the fact that he likes to be one that takes a lot of corner trees. So I feel like him being in the corner and OKC being slow on him. I think
Yeah.
they will put Shea on him or Dub.
Probably.
They can be good help defenders. They tend to be guys that, especially at the beginning of the game, they can leave a guy like that semi open, and that is a tragedy. Herder, I wonder who they start tonight. By the way, OKC. I would love to go with Kaysen just because you give Fox two guys that can really keep him out of the paint. But we'll see. I mean,
Who would you pick for the starters?
again, it's not the pick. It's what I hope. I would hope for Shea, Dort, Kaysen, Dub, Hartenstein.
Yeah. I think that makes a ton of sense.
And maybe if you want to give a little bit of defense off the bench, you can put in Wiggs.
Yeah.
Wiggs is fine.
Yeah. So I was looking at some of the lineup data, which we just, because the Thunder just don't play their guys consistently, inconsistent enough lineups, like you just don't have that much data yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a couple lineups with Chet that have 45 or more minutes together.
Mm-hmm.
The SGA, Dort, Chet, Dub, Case, and Wallace lineup, which is the most played lineup for this squad, it's a plus 9.8, which is quite good.
Yeah.
In 45 minutes, we have SGA, Dort, Chet, Dub, Isaiah Joe, which is plus 5.
Mm-hmm.
In 41 minutes, I'm gonna have you guess the net rating of this one from NBA.com. SGA, Dort, Dub, Joe, and Case and Wallace. What's the net rating for that group?
That is a plus 18 or plus 22.
Higher.
Yeah, it's higher. No, that is a crazy lineup.
Plus 32.8, which
yeah.
It's in 41 minutes. It's a small sample. It's probably maybe a lot of that Phoenix game, I would guess.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, plus 32.8. That lineup has worked quite well. And then we have the SGA, Dort, Dub, Joe, Wiggins. So basically that same lineup that was a plus 32.8, but you just subbed Case and Wallace for Wiggins. You want to take a guess as to what that one is?
I don't think that is wildly positive. I think it is barely positive. Am I right? I'm dead wrong.
It is wildly negative. It's a negative 6.
Yeah. I knew that was worse because I checked into data like a week or two ago. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little strange, you know, and all these numbers are very noisy right now. So I don't want to take any of them. I take them all with just like the entire salt shaker. Like I'm not taking a lot away from any of this lineup data. And like we're almost 20 games in, which is where you can kind of start. But I feel like if you're a Thunder fan and you want to look at lineup data, you might not want to wait 30 or 40 games, to be honest, just because you don't have enough of a sample with any of these lineups to feel like you can say anything definitive about a lot of them. So that's, 64 minutes is just not a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I know it's you can start looking into on-off data, but those are extremely weird for OKC. The worst of the guys who are playing big minutes is Dub at minus 17 on-off, which is weird because if you then check the numbers when he's on the court, it's not all that bad. The problem is that when he's out there and Shea is not out of there, then it's not good, which is something that we already discussed, I think, last week. The other thing that I really want to understand, and I know that OKC is getting into a little bit more threes than last year, but OKC is not getting at the line whatsoever. And it's like they are a little bit too far behind. Like they are 29th, 28th, I don't remember, in the league. And they are shooting 6 or 7 free throws less than the Lakers. And you say, okay, they shoot more threes than the Lakers. Sure. There are a gazillion teams that are shooting more threes than the Lakers, and not everyone is at the bottom of the league, especially not teams that drive the ball as much as OKC does. So this, I don't know how it will be corrected, but it's costing OKC a couple of points per game, 2-3 points per game, which is probably, I don't know, it's maybe a little bit more, to be honest with you, because if it's 4 or 5 free throws that are missing, 5 times 8, it's 4 points per game, which it may be 2.5 points per possession. OKC would have the best net rating in the league. And that without accounting for the fact that OKC is shooting, I think, well below their shooting quality as we speak, because they are 34% from 3 and they are generating lots of wide open threes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the offense is like this. Like, why are they middle of the pack? Like, I think it's a combination of things, and I think it's just, only a few guys are shooting really well, and it's just the free throws. It is a problem, certainly, and I know some people are saying like, oh well, it's not. We hear a lot about drives from Mark, and I think it's completely valid, by the way. And there's some people like, well, you can't really judge them off drives. You have to judge them as like, the shots, that they're taking in the paint. Well, if you look at that stat, they're actually closer to like 12th in the league last time I checked, with the amount of shots that they take in the paint. So
it would be awesome to be 12th in free throws.
That's what I was about to say is like, I don't think that they're complaining that like they need to be number 1. They just need to not be last. They just need to be a team that is taking a reasonable amount of free throws, and they're just not. Shea's taking 7.8, which is down. J-Dub's taking 2.8. Dort's taking 1.8, and then everybody else is below 1. Yeah, Wiggins below 1. It just doesn't make any sense as to why this is so low. And you hope that starts to turn a little bit, because it is killing their offensive rating for sure, and it's just overall they can't get. It's hard for them to get easy points, and they can't. They don't spend hardly any time in the bonus. That's something that Mark was talking about the other night. Is that their time spent in the bonus is, really bottom of the league. Yeah. And so it's just something has to change. Something has got to flip with all of this, just because it's not tenable for the Thunder to be where they want to be. And a lot of it is just like, can we just get a normal amount of free throws? And if you're watching, like, just watch tonight, and maybe things will change tonight. But if you're watching, just like, jot down the number of times that you see, something happen where it's like, what, that could have been called, Yeah.
It's multiple times. And on the 3-pointers, trivia for you. Can you guess how many wide open 3-pointers OKC was taking last year
per game?
Yeah,
I don't know, 13,
22.
22?
Yes, wide open, and open 10. Can you guess the percentage?
Wow. On the wide open? 43,
41 on the open threes.
40, 42? I don't know.
No, 36.
Okay. I was 36%. Like, it's gonna be weird. Yeah.
No. It's not weird. It's a base, it's a reference number. So 10 3-pointers that are open at 36%, 22 3-pointers wide open at 41%. These are the numbers.
Wow.
Now, can you guess, Andrew, this season?
Oh no. On wide open shots, or the number of wide open?
The first open free throws. Oh, open 3-pointers. Number and percentage.
Okay. On wide open, I'll say they're taking 24 wide open threes.
That's good.
Is that right?
It's 24.8, but
yeah.
Yes.
And I will guess they're making 37% of the wide open threes.
Lower.
It's lower? 34?
34.8.
Oh.
Okay, so they are taking basically 2 more wide open threes, and they are shooting 5% worse, which is points, plural points.
And by the way, Josh Giddey's not on this team anymore. Everybody.
On open threes, they are taking more open threes compared to last year. 13.3 compared to 10, and they are shooting right where they were last year. So it's really the wide open threes that are making a huge difference. Or if you want to see catch and shoot, they were much better last year, and now they are at 36 and a half, 36 and change percent. So point being, they should be 3-4 points per game better due to the 3-pointers and a couple for free throws. So they should be really elite due to what they are doing on the court and the fact that they have lots of shooters. So, and you can say, okay, Shea is not a shooter, he's taking a lot. Great. This is one reason why they are a little bit less effective than last year. But I don't think that this will continue a lot, because Shea has a pristine mechanics. He should be a little bit more mindful about which kind of shots he takes. Yes, this is part of the plan, getting comfortable on uncharacteristic shots for him. But overall, the wide open shots, they will improve. Caruso will not be a 12% three-point shooter. I don't believe that. Cason Wallace will not be a sub 30% three-point shooter. He took a catch and shoot from the corner without lowering the ball. This is something that will regress. So I really believe that this team, even without Chet Holmgren, they can probably be top 5 defensively, even without him. I think they will be strictly the number 1 if he was to play the entire season. And offensively, I think that they will settle as a team between probably 6 and 10. So they will be, and maybe better, to be honest with you. If they start getting calls, they can be a top 5 team on both categories, or close to that, even without Chet.
Yeah, they should be. And I think there will be an Isaiah Hartenstein effect to all of this.
Yeah.
One, I mean, the Thunder right now are dead last in rebound percentage in the NBA. That's going to start to correct itself with Isaiah there. His passing, you already started to see it. We talked about it already, but like his passing just makes things a lot easier for everybody. He's going to put people in good positions. He's just going to help a ton. And then like you have this small ball weapon that was starting to kind of lose its edge. It felt like when it was the only thing they had. And now when it becomes a weapon again, I think it's going to be like we can play both ways and we can be effective rather than it just being like this exhausting thing that, is really tough for them to handle. And at some point, like Jay I would guess, will be back in the next couple of weeks, or at least that would be the hope that he would be back in the next couple of weeks. And so we get him back. You have Hartenstein, then like things will start to feel a little bit more normal, even though like there were times where it was just really fun to watch that team. I think as they entered the Spurs and Portland game, you were like, okay, this is not as fun anymore. Like teams are starting to like scout it and figure it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I just think that frankly, they were just kind of running out of energy, or at least like energy is probably the wrong word, because they did show great energy at the end of that Spurs game and at the end of that Dallas game. But I think it's just like the initial like gumption that it takes to start a game that small. I think
and again,
seemed to be wearing on them a little bit.
It was. I mean, and not to pat myself on the back, I was worried about that being an issue, because I mean they play already with a level of energy that is uncommon. Again, watch any other game. Yeah. Any other. I didn't watch Cleveland too much, so I don't know how they play.
Go watch Indiana right now.
Yeah,
it is a slog. Go watch the Sixers right now. It is
it's terrible. There are teams like Houston who give a lot defensively. Portland was playing hard defensively against OKC, but the first week of the season they were harassing teams like for 20 minutes. And when it started, it was like an avalanche against the Spurs. It seemed like let's try. Oh no, let's try. Oh no. It was not like until the end of the game, it was not like a constant effort. And again, it's your effort, but it's the ability to impose a certain kind of basketball, which is the thing. You see those moments because you are actually imposing a certain rhythm to the game, a certain imprint on the game. Which if you can't, then this is why I think it's an energy kind of thing. And again, it's not just fatigue. It's about, hey, I really have to do all these things constantly in order to be able to maybe stay afloat. Not to get, because if you are doing those things and suddenly you start beating the team down, then it basically fuels yourself. And if you're just doing that just to get even against the Spurs in San Antonio, I mean, it's much harder to justify that, to just being able to sustain that. So I really think that Hartenstein gives OKC an avenue to just have things a little bit easier on some areas. And again, having a great player that just helps because he's infusing talent, energy, passing, which again, look at the face that he does when he passes the ball. He just wants to give you the best shot, which is insane. And again, he wants to get good shots himself. So
Yeah.
I really hope that tonight against Domas, he can have his A game. And again, I really hope he starts.
I do too. And I think he should.
Yeah.
He should start. I think it would be, honestly, it'd be very Mark Daignault for him not to start.
Yeah.
It would feel, but it's also just like, man, what are we saving him for? Like, we need him against Alex Len. Like, come on. That's a time where you can throw J-Dub in as like, or Dylan Jones or whatever. Like, please, let's see the best center versus the best center. I would just like to see it.
Yeah, and again, give Dylan Jones reps against Trey Lyles, and if he burns them twice, good. We'll see what else we can do. But I mean, Hart needs to play with the starters. I think that against the Lakers, it's going to be impossible not to start him. And I know that if somehow in the future Mark Daignault will listen to this pod, he'll say, "Hold my beer," and just start someone else. But it's
he definitely will. Yeah.
But
yeah, that Lakers game is important. And we'll have a couple of this pod and Wednesday pod before that game happens. But that's an important game. Like that if the Thunder have any hope of getting to the NBA Cup knockout rounds, then they're going to have to win that game. Like they have to win. If the Lakers win it, the Lakers are going to basically be going back to Vegas. So that's quite an important game, and we need them to compete and to play like it. And the Thunder have had weird games against the Lakers, and the Lakers they've had an odd season because their record looks good, their net rating is not great, their point differential is not great, their defense is not great. I feel like they just had good execution, which is like part of having LeBron James on your basketball team, is like he just gets you extra wins just because he is LeBron James. And so I'm just intrigued to see how the Thunder play on Friday in LA. And they're on this long road trip, and I think that it'd be good for them to rack up some wins on this road trip because they play in Sacramento tonight, who's kind of sputtering. They need to just take care of business there. Golden State Wednesday, they get kind of a rematch with Golden State, which I'm excited to watch. And then they have LA on Friday, and then they play Houston in Houston on Sunday.
That's a tough week.
So 4 like legit games. It's been a minute since they played. Like the Golden State Clippers, Pelicans, Phoenix week should have been like the first like real like test week for them, and it was not that. A lot of that was because of the Chet injury that kind of colored the Golden State game. They did bounce back and beat the Clippers. They beat the Pelicans. They beat Phoenix, and all those teams were playing without their best players. And they lose to Dallas without Luka, and then they lost to San Antonio without Wemby, and now they're back on track against Portland. And so it'd be good for them to get out, and they're going to have to learn how to play with Hartenstein. And this is a really good road trip for that, because you're going to learn a lot about your team on the road against those 4 teams. So I think that it's exciting. It's exciting to get to watch Thunder basketball again tonight.
Yeah. It's the most important game, I think. the one of tonight. You want to start off the this bunch of games on the road with a right game, with a good game, with a game full of energy. And again, you need to frankly beat hard the Kings. You need to take advantage of the fact that they are on a back-to-back, and that probably you are the better team, because against those three teams are the top. Well, the Lakers are not the top in the West, but they are a team that the Thunder have struggled to play against over the past few years. And so you basically are facing three of the 6 best teams in the Western Conference in 3 consecutive games. You can lose all the games, and it's probably not a scandal or anything. If they go 50%, 2-2, that would be, I think, a good enough week. If you go 3-1, it's an amazing week, and they will be. I mean, I don't believe that they will go 3-1, but again, if they do, then they are even more scary to the league compared to what I had in mind.
Have you been looking at the point differentials on cleaning the glass? The efficiency differential, I guess, would be the better way to say it.
Yeah.
Have you seen who's at the top?
Yeah. I know.
Have our listeners?
It's AJ.
It's AJ.
Yeah.
AJ-AY. AJ. It's AJ. Plus
AJ Mitchell.
9. And this is in 217 minutes. It's a little wonky, but like there are 2 guys that are their plus minuses is above 10 on cleaning the glass, and it's Shea and it's AJ Mitchell.
Yeah.
By golly. He's at a plus 11.9. And then you have Chet, who's a plus 5.5. Oos in 148 minutes plus 3. Joe's a plus 2. Then everybody else is negative. And like you mentioned, J-Dub, negative 17. They're at the very bottom. And I think a lot of that is like due to I think that the Thunder have done a good job of kind of getting by with the amount of injuries that they've had. And a lot of that is like they have had Shea and J-Dub in the lineup, which has been quite helpful to have those 2. But, Dub has not been able to just like keep everything afloat whenever Shea's off the floor.
Which is something that, again, I think Hartenstein will help a lot with. And again, I really hope that the starting unit with Hartenstein gives a punch to the opponents starting the game, because this is, again, when you're already down a starter, and they are down Caruso, which again is an important part of what they are trying to do this season. Yeah, starting off without having to put all your doubling and just playing normal basketball for 5 minutes. Yeah, that would help quite a lot. Totally, I think. Totally.
Okay, Thunder in Sacramento tonight. We will have another podcast for you guys on Wednesday with Alex Spears, talking about the Kings game and previewing the Golden State Warriors game. I've talked to Alex and others about possibly doing an emergency pod here or there throughout the next couple months. Just if anything crazy happens, we'll try to hop here on the stream. So if we have time to do that, look for that here. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We very much appreciate that. We have exclusive content on the channel still. If you haven't watched any of the Media Day interviews, those are all up on YouTube. So I would appreciate you guys checking those out and just subscribing to that channel. I hope you guys are doing well, and we will talk to you guys again on Wednesday.